I intentionally sent 30 Amazon buyers the wrong item on purpose to see what happened, and the results will shock you. My name is Carlos, and I am an Amazon seller of 15 years and the organizer of the largest Amazon seller meetup group in the world. Towards the beginning of one of my first private label brands, which was a cigar accessories brand, I decided to sell cigar cutters. So I had these cigar cutters and they have all different kinds of colors. So I start scaling this out into some variation listing, and I have all these different color cigar cutters, and I start branching out with this really nice family of humidors and humidifiers and all these other accessories to build out this really nice cigar accessories brand. But the cigar cutters I got into because I wanted to just all that extra space on the containers. I can add these cigar cutters in. When I first started adding on those other cigar cutter colors, the first week of doing this, I had this one person, they ordered 5 cutters. I sent it to them. At the time I was doing merchant fulfilled. The person who ordered 5 cigar cutters of one color received 5 cigar cutters of 3 random colors. So this person winds up being absolutely pissed. They're a cigar club owner. Like, this could not have gone more sideways on me. And the person leaves this like scathing review as to like why nobody worth their weight in salt pretty much in the cigar space should ever buy from me. I saw the review and I noticed cigar club and how that would be a dream client for me. So I did everything I possibly could think of to try to fix this order and maybe save this person as a customer. And maybe we were like kindred spirits in the cigar accessory world. What I did was I immediately reached out to this person who left me the bad review, and I let them know that I was very sorry for this, that I would personally oversee the shipment of the correct cutter being sent to them, 5 more cutters at no additional charge. And my hope was, first, that this person would, possibly revisit the review, in all honesty. And the other one was that it would be really nice to have this person like recommend me to other people and maybe, buy some humidors from me in the future. So the person starts sharing that, they were absolutely blown away with my approach and how quickly I responded. And they told me as much, and that the customer service being willing to send them 5 more. And the person even apologized for like how intense they were in the negative review, but that they had this cigar club meeting and they were all going to take a picture and they were going to all hold this cigar cutter, this redwood cigar cutter that you could see. It's a guillotine cigar cutter. And that they would all take a group picture with it, but since they all had different colors and it was not their club colors, it wouldn't work. I completely understood. I sent the person to 5 colors and they revisited the review and they continued buying from me. Like right there in the communication, the person was asking me questions about their humidor, why they had my attention to be able to answer them. I gave them a discount on the humidors. They bought a bunch more humidors. This experience, it started making me see because I wound up selling, I think like 4 humidors off of this. Mind you, these humidors were like a few $100s per humidor. So this 5 cigar cutters, my cost of the cigar cutters was like $1 at the time. So, extra $15 shipping and all netted me almost $1,000 in humidor sales. This was a heck of an opportunity. This is my most profitable thing that happened on Amazon to date. So what happened was every time I saw a negative review coming in after that, instead of getting upset, I started seeing it as like, this is an opportunity to perhaps turn something like someone's expecting me to snap back at them or not reply and ignore them. But instead, if I just jump back and kill them with kindness, kind of go in the vein of how Amazon is with customer centricity and customer first, I could actually win them over. And because they're so shocked and that I went above and beyond, this could actually result in possibly upselling and a positive review. So with this new curiosity towards negative reviews or upset customers in the buyer seller message board, I started developing this system for addressing them. And sometimes life gets in the way. And by that, I mean, there was this time that, I couldn't respond to messages quick enough, or I noticed that over the weekend, those messages I would just turn off on the weekend and I'd address them on Monday. But no matter how closely I copied my technique, responding instantly versus responding a couple days later, the results just were not the same. If somebody left me Friday evening or Saturday morning that they were upset about something with a cigar cutter or a negative review, and I tried to address it on Monday, it's like I was talking to a wall. But if I responded instantly, then I noticed that I could get pretty amazing results, like catching them in the heat of the moment. I learned that, and then I kept tweaking different forms of approaching, disgruntled customers and customer service. Definitely the biggest takeaway there was that, yes, the quicker you respond, better chances of getting the ability to upsell and to get positive reviews. But I started wondering, can you intentionally create a scenario like what I had experienced previously? And I had never seen something of that magnitude again. Like I had not had another cigar club owner buy from me, and I wooed them with my customer service and they bought $1,000 worth of stuff. But could I test this and say, okay, if I want to upsell customers, could I intentionally send them the wrong item and then woo them with customer service? And while they're so in awe of this customer service, could I get positive reviews, whereas they would not have left any review or a negative review? And could I get them to buy from me again, or more like an upsell right on the spot? Curiosity got the best of me and I decided to do it. So I had a huge advantage here in this experiment, because back when the seed had got planted that this might be an idea that I could test, FBA wasn't fully adopted by everyone. So I was shipping almost exclusively FBM at this point, and the cigar cutters and everyone in the cigar accessory space at that point was shipping FBM. And if you're not familiar with FBM, it's basically you get an order, you print it out, you slap a label on it, grab your envelopes and you ship it. Like that's what it is, versus sending it to FBA. When an order comes in, they ship it. So I had that as an advantage for this test. But what I decided to do is I didn't want to just do it with a few customers, as I feel like I wouldn't get a lot of data. So I decided to do it with 30 customers. What I did is I got 3 different color cigar cutters, 3, because I was getting, 50, 60 orders a day of like each one of these cigar cutters. What I decided is I was going to intentionally ship the wrong item to 30 of these customers. 10 people who bought the yellow might receive 10 red, and vice versa. And how I stayed organized with this is I would write down the name and order ID of everyone who ordered this, what their correct cutter should be or correct color should be, because they were all guillotine cutters, and what was the incorrect cutter that I actually sent them. I mapped this out in this Excel, and I was very nervous. 1% defect rate can still really hurt your account. And it was much harder to get unsuspended if you got suspended back then. There wasn't this plan of action and all this other cool stuff they have now. You were just out. I mapped this out on the sheet. I was really, really confident that this was going to work. I sent out the incorrect orders. I never forget, not even sure if that was a good day to do it, but I sent it out on a Friday. And then the absolute hardest part here was I waited. And then I waited some more. What happened? So 5 people of these 30, they received the wrong color cigar cutter and they never complained. They never left a negative review. I wound up, we used to be able to get a lot more information from the customers on Amazon back then, but I went ahead and just shipped them another cutter a couple of weeks later. That was the correct one, but I never heard anything from them not receiving the second cutter, not that they received the wrong cutter, no thank you, no bad review, no anything. The rest of this gets very interesting. First, huge one, massive, massive, massive win. I start getting reached out by everybody else. Some of them are in the form of negative reviews. Most of them are the buyer seller message board saying, what's going on here? I ordered a yellow cutter, I received a red one, and vice versa, like all these different colors. In the process of working with them, replying instantly and apologizing, accepting ownership, saying, I'll ship them another one, no problem. In that process, I kept the conversation going, and I would ask them something like, I noticed you ordered the guillotine. Is that because your humidor doesn't have a tray? And just different things to get the conversation going. Since I immediately said, I'm going to take care of this, they were open to having the conversation with me. And a lot of them were like, no, I don't have one with the tray because I heard it doesn't give you enough space for your cigars. And that's not true. But ironically, it was something that was really not pointed out in the listing. And I was like, wow, how could somebody look at this? They must think that the space we say that's in the humidor, that some of that is taken up by the tray. Not the case. So I explained that it wasn't. I wound up giving them like a 5-10% discount, and they wind up buying some humidors. So out of these 30 that I sent, 25 that I'm responding to, I wound up upselling 13 additional humidors that I was selling on the Amazon platform. I did not in any case try to divert anyone off of Amazon. I'm not going to call this strategy above board, but it was above board as possible in this aspect. So I upsold them on 13 different humidors, totaling, I'm going to say over $1,000 easily on those 13 humidors. I also upsold them on 52 humidification jars. So these humidification jars are great accessories that somebody orders with the humidors. So it kind of made sense. You want to get a few humidification jars per humidor. So the 13 people that bought humidors also bought some humidification jars. The other thing I did was a few of the people, they mentioned, I already have a humidor. but I really don't care for my humidor. It doesn't really read the relative humidity very nice. And I didn't want to come out of pocket a humidor just for a cigar cutter. So what I offered them was a digital hygrometer. And this wasn't even a digital hygrometer I sold. Like, we didn't sell digital hygrometers at the time. I went to the #1 bestseller on Amazon, and I just got a link to it. And I went to the chat and I was like, hey, how about this? I'd love to send you one of these. I have an extra one lying around. And they didn't know that I didn't. The good faith effort there was kind of like, wow, they just told me they had an issue with their hygrometer. They seemed to be kind of on the fence about whether they should be pissed off or happy with the cigar cutter. Let me just tip them over the edge. And I bought them this digital hygrometer out of my own pocket and then shipped it to the customer with their free replacement cigar cutter. They had no idea that I didn't. They just thought I had stock of this digital hygrometer. But that good faith in digital hygrometers and probably some extra shipping in there, even though, they're very cheap, cost me about 45 bucks. I started calculating like, okay, with these extra humidors, with the humidification jars, with the extra cigar cutters that I needed to ship out to correct everything, what was kind of like my net profit at the end of it. My extra profit, even after shipping and everything, was $980. So nearly $1,000. I intentionally sent 30 people the wrong item on Amazon, turned it around and made $980 in profit. That's after shipping and everything and after the replacement cutters, which is mind-boggling to me. To me, this was like proof positive. It was like, okay, I'm right. This is a thing. This really worked, and should I do this again? This is what I started thinking at the time. But how did I do for positive reviews? Like, how many negative reviews wind up sticking out of this 30 versus how many positive? So keep in mind, I shipped 30, 5 people didn't respond. So that's 25. And of the 25, I got 23 positive reviews. I did not get a single negative review from those 30 orders, which is just blows me away. Now, I really don't know how many of those people would have left positive reviews if they would have just received the correct cigar cutter to begin with. In my experience, it would not have been 23. It might have been 1. So I've received somewhere between 20 plus positive reviews, more than I would have received had they just received the correct cutter the first go around. Like, wow, I hadn't seen anything like that to date. A lot of takeaways on this. First of all, I'm going to put this out there. Do I recommend that you go out there and send the wrong item to customers? A lot's changed on the Amazon platform. And when you're using FBA, you're not going to have the flexibility to kind of like change things out like that. And I'm definitely not suggesting that you send a bunch of wrong items to FBA. Could this be pulled off on a small scale with merchant fulfilled? Yes. Not really my main objective with creating this video. And I hope that's not what you're taking away listening to this video. I was able to pull this off with merchant fulfilled. I also had something that was, $1 cost, 3.5 ounces to be able to ship in first class mail, which was significantly cheaper way back when. So I had a very low cost item that I could ship out, that I was selling a lot of. So it was kind of like the perfect storm to be able to do this. So I don't recommend nowadays you do this. An additional thing would be customers on Amazon now could kind of just like block messages and say like, I don't want to hear from this person. So they could just leave you the negative review and you have no way to really get a hold of them. So don't recommend you do it now. What I do think the huge takeaway though here is where the true profits really lie on this, and that you can do this right now in your Amazon business, is the way you address an upset customer or a negative review on Amazon. With what I've tested is that if you respond to these messages or review in a timely manner, if you acknowledge the issue, if you choose the correct platform to resolve the issue, you have some kind of follow-up behind this to check back in with them to make sure that, what they received in replacement, exceeded all expectations. By doing this, this is where the true profits lie when it comes to customer service on Amazon, and how you could turn, 30 incorrect items into a windfall of positive reviews and upsells on Amazon. I definitely do recommend Hug Your Haters by Jay Bear and my podcast episode where I go even deeper on this topic. Both of the links will be in the description. Plus, check out my other videos on this channel and leave me a message in the comments. It means the absolute world to me.